speaker, well, moderator for today. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subject, which is culture. It's not just about, a country. It's not just about a place where you're from. It's also about your own self. And we're going to dig deep into that. And before we start, I would like to know where everyone's from. I don't know, did I spotlight myself? Okay, Miss Arpah, did I say your name right? Hi, how are you? You're muted, ma'am.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, I'm good. Thanks for asking. And how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. May I ask where you're from? Like where you're staying right now?
I'm from Palangkaraya and I live in Palangkaraya as well.
Okay, have you lived there your whole life? Or have you moved around as well?
I moved to Sampit, but not quite long. I moved back to Palangkaraya actually. So yeah, let's say that almost my whole life I've been living here.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Let's see. We have Sugianto.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you.
Awesome. Where are you from?
I'm from Bekasi.
Bekasi, serious? I lived there for a while. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So have you been like living in Bekasi your whole life, or have you also moved there, like around?
Actually, I was born in Pekalongan, but after I graduated from senior high school, I went to Bekasi for work, for life.
For being an adult.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you. And Sunshine. Hi. Hello, Sunshine.
Hello. It's a moonshine, I suppose that.
Moonshine? Well, your name is
sunshine. No.
I mean, it's still sunny in my place, so.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. Where are you from?
I was born in Malang, but currently stay in Depok.
Okay, awesome. So you've lived in have you lived in Malang or Depok more? Which place?
Of course in Malang because I was born there.
Oh, you were born there. Okay, awesome. Thank you. And Zidane?
Yes.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you.
Awesome, wonderful. Where are you from?
I'm from Palangka, but I born in Kediri.
That's quite far, yeah? Moving from an island to another.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Sophie? Sophie here?
Yes, miss, I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from Makassar actually, but I currently study in Samarinda.
Whoa, okay, that's quite a move.
Yeah.
And thank you. Mardia?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
Awesome. Where are you from?
I'm from Makassar. Yes.
And you've lived in Makassar your whole life?
No, just for university. I'm a student, but now I'm in Tokyo.
Right now you're in Tokyo?
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you. Last but not least, Ryan.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Fascinating.
Awesome.
Yeah.
May I ask where you're from?
I think my fate is in Jakarta.
Your what?
Fate.
Okay.
F-A-T-A. Yeah, I always in Jakarta Timur, East Jakarta.
You're always living in Jakarta?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Right, now that I know where everyone's are from, that I can see that we're all from different places. For me, I'm from Indonesia, from Palangkaraya to be exact, but I've lived all over the place. And right now I'm living in Romania. It's quite far away from Indonesia. And of course, I think that we all have different, culture, lifestyle, whatever. The way we live our life is very different. If I ask Ryan, do you go out every week or with your friends, it might be different from Mr. Sugianto answer. And if I ask Mardia if she goes out to, I don't know, restaurants every day, or it might be different from Sunshine's answer. And yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out here. We're gonna dig deep into the metaphor of iceberg, and we're gonna pretty much introduce ourselves and our culture and our lifestyle. How do we live our life and everything. And first, we can start by going to menti.com. You can go. Is my screen visible to you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Please go to menti.com and then use this code right here. Let me share it also in the chat box. There. All right. Everyone see the screen, and can you go to menti.com and use the code? Okay.
What do you think about iceberg?
Yeah, just say, have you ever seen iceberg? Have you ever think about iceberg? Like whatever, one word about iceberg. Awesome. And you can also add, that's good. What about everyone else? Mounts of ice, it's deep. What about the color of it? Anything? Is anyone on Menti, by the way? In the ocean. Okay. I'm gonna give you 1 more to 2 more minutes to and input your answer. Okay, I have to see from Motivator. That's an interesting answer. Tough. Okay. Okay. All right. I guess we can move on to another great piece. Awesome. Yeah. Cold, Mount Ice, deep, tough. All right. Let's move on to the next question. And what is culture, to be exact? How do you describe culture to your? You can use whatever word you want to say about it. I would say habits, trend. That's good. That's great. Okay. Anyone else? Come on. Ancient habit. That's great. Okay. Social. Trends in society. That's interesting. Traditional stuff. Okay. All right. 1 more minute before we move on. Behavior. That's great. Anyone else want to put some more inputs or their answers? Creativity. That's a great answer too. All right. Now, we can go back to our iceberg, and you can see that everyone says it's in the ocean. It's hard. It's often seen from the motivators. It's tough. It's cold. It's use brain maximum. I'm not sure what that means, but that's a good answer. And it's deep, and it's great peace, and it's amounts of ice. And the culture itself, it's as you put it, it's traditional. It's some trends in societies, behaviors, ancient habits, social habits, creativity, and trend. Now, how do I connect this iceberg, the word iceberg, or the object itself, with culture, which is like two different things, right? One is real and you can see it, and the other is something that not necessarily doesn't really exist in real life. Now, have you ever seen an iceberg, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever seen it in TV or in real life? Where have you
Google.
seen it? Google.
Google.
Okay, that's a good answer. Of course. We see everything through Google. And do you know that the iceberg itself is actually, it's shown like this, right? On like the surface above the ocean. It's a mountain of ice, which is actually correct. And it's very, very cold. Like it needs a certain temperature to exist. Like we talked about last week about something related to global warming. This is also related to it, but not really. And actually, the iceberg itself is, okay, Sugianto said, ever seen from Titanic movies. That is true. They sunk the whole ship because they hit the Titanic ship. Anyways, so this iceberg itself, it's actually deeper than you expected. The fact that the first image was this wonderful mountains of ice, right? And the second image is this, whole unit of the iceberg itself. You can see that this much of ice is actually buried under the sea, and we can't really actually see it. So the metaphor of iceberg itself, it's connected to the culture, because, well, we don't really see everything unless we dive deep into it, right? It is yeah, you can say it's a hidden trend. It's something that cannot be, seen from afar unless we go under the ocean and take a look at it. Okay. Now, on to the next project. It kind of does look scary. Let's see. Right. So now that we already connect the two words, cultural and iceberg, and I would like to, let's see. Okay, there we go. Here we go. I would like us to actually talk more about our own culture and everything. It's a metaphor that is, like I said, it's a metaphor of culture that cannot actually be seen on top of, we cannot just describe culture as the top of the iceberg. All right. So this is an iceberg. And there's a phrase, the blank of the iceberg. Can anyone help me fill in the blank? Maybe Farid. I didn't see you before. Fadila, hello. Okay. Or okay, someone's sending in the chat. Someone says peak, reflection, surface, and tip. What else can we get? I need someone to speak up, so don't just type on the chat. Be brave and speak up. Let's say Sunshine, whatever your name is. I'm just gonna call you Sunshine.
The most common response would be the tip. Yeah, but I couldn't see that there's like a very narrow peak that can be considered as a tip. And that's why I prefer to see what's hidden there, like the reflections that commonly people do not recognize it in the very first sight, I suppose.
Right. That's a great answer. What about Sophie?
Yes, miss.
You said surface. What did you say, surface? I mean, by the way, please don't call me miss. It makes me feel very old. I'm sorry.
Yes, Rhea.
Why did you say surface?
Because I don't know, just by looking the picture, I think surface is the most seen by the people. That is the most thing who seen.
Makes sense. And Mardia says the tip.
Yes, I know, because it's an idea, right? It means a small part of a problem that is seen or not about, where there is a much larger part that is not seen or we don't know about.
Yeah. Actually, you are, even if I would say that every answer that you guys gave me was like correct. They were very, very, descriptive and everything. But there's an English phrase called the tip of the iceberg. It means that something, whatever that could be, it could be problem, my life, your life, my cats, I don't know, your children, your family. It's actually has more meaning to it than how much they appear on top of the ocean. In this case, the ocean itself is the cover that we, some sort of boundaries that we put, that we don't want to tell a lot of people. And the tip of the iceberg is the thing that we how do I explain this? The part that we show to people, and sometimes ourself or culture appears to people just it's only the tip of the iceberg, and we cover ourselves, or we have to dig deep into it by diving into the ocean itself. The ocean, or the surface of the ocean itself, is the blanket or the cover that we erect in our life. Thank you, everyone. And now we see here the full anatomy of an iceberg. Can someone help me just to, guess the name of the tip and the bottom of the iceberg? Someone just like give me a name. Maybe Livia?
Sorry, because I just come. I don't know what the question is.
Don't worry. We're talking about iceberg, basically cultural iceberg. And do you think, can you think of a name that is suitable for the tip of the iceberg? Just a guess, whatever.
The name.
Yeah.
I don't know, but because my background is in psychology, yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's not really, connected. I just want you to just give me a name, whatever.
Okay, but this is interesting. In psychology, we also use the term of the tip of the iceberg for representing the conscious mind of human.
Right.
But the tip of the iceberg is just a small part of the consciousness. So most of human mind is unconscious, which is under the surface.
Yeah, that's great.
In psychology, this term is called psychoanalysis. So I don't know what kind of context that you ask. In psychology, the term's name just like that, psychoanalysis.
Okay, thank you. Ryan said Freud.
Exactly, Freud.
Okay, I am actually thinking about the scientific name, but it's not really relatable. I just like to add some facts about it. Okay, let's go see the name of the tip. It is actually called the hammock. So the top part of the iceberg itself, it's called hammock. And the bottom part itself, it's called bummock. And as we all already talked about, this iceberg itself, it goes deeper. It goes deeper than you think. And the top part itself extends up to 100 meters or 300 feet above the sea. And the iceberg itself can contain mass ranging from 100,000 tons to 10 million tons. And the bottom part, or the bummock, it can extend to 3 times the size of its tip, which is 900 feet below the sea. Now, we're already talking about iceberg itself as an object, and now like as a literal object. And now we're gonna talk about, figuratively speaking, how to connect icebergs to the culture itself. And let's see. All right, so the cultural iceberg, it is divided into 2 major parts and with 2 sub parts, I would say. And the top part is the visible part. Like Livia said, with the psychological term, the conscious mind is only on the top, correct me if I'm wrong. But the subconscious, it's our mind is actually more than that, and it's, you know, it's the bigger part is on the subconscious part, which is not very visible. All right, guys. I would like you guys to give me some words as to what do you think about culture? What are the objects you think of when you're explaining about your own culture? Let's say, Mardia, you're from Makassar, but right now you live in Tokyo.
Yes.
And you, how do you, what are the things that you will explain to Japanese people from, you know, about your hometown?
Mm,
Let's see.
because Japanese people love coffee, I sometimes describe my place like we have a lot of delicious coffee. That's it. Because I think it's hard to explain like the culture thing. Sometimes I explain about the food or our traditions, but I think
Okay, so you would say coffee?
yes, I would say
All right, let me type it in. And then what
food.
else do you think? Food. Okay.
And most of people is really interested with traditions like dance and music.
Dance. Okay. What about, thank you, Martia. What about, let's see, who else do we have? Sugianto?
Yes.
Where are you from again? I'm sorry, I don't think I asked you earlier.
Yeah, actually, I was born in Pekalongan.
Pekalongan,
Yeah, it's, Center Java.
Yeah. So let's say you're going to, I don't know, Jakarta. What would you explain to people in Jakarta, like Ryan, about your own culture?
Is it like a comparison about?
No, well, people ask, hey, what do you do? What is your culture in Pekalongan? What would you say to them? Like Mardia was explaining to Japanese people about dance and music in her place, coffee and food to Japanese people. What about you? What would you say to, you don't have to go very far, to people in Jakarta?
Jakarta.
About your culture, about where you're from.
Wait a minute. I just think about. Yeah. When we talk about culture in Jakarta, like.
No. I would just say your culture, but you explain it to people from Jakarta.
Oh.
But the culture from your place, from Pekalongan.
Maybe it's about. Wait a minute, I'm forget about the word.
Take your time.
I think about the polite people.
Politeness.
Politeness, yeah.
What else?
And we like sweetie food.
Sweet food. Okay. Sweet dessert, maybe.
Sweet dessert, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And one more from, let's see, Raya, RYA. Hello. Oh, she's not answering. Okay. Let's move on then to Arpah. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
You're from Palangkaraya, right?
Yes, what is the question again?
What would you explain to people, let's say from Makassar, about your place? What about your culture? Let's like Mr. Sugianto explained that he will say that people from his place are polite and they like sweet food. What about you from Palangkaraya?
Well, I don't think that I'm really, an expert about Palangkaraya itself because my culture itself is actually Banjarnese.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of culture in one place for sure.
Yes. Even if I was born in Palangkaraya, originally from Palangkaraya, but my culture, everyone in my house say things and they just, talk about a lot of things in Banjarnese because that's
Yeah.
And let's say that if someone asked me about my culture, I would say that, I don't know, maybe herbs or things like that.
Herbs, okay.
Yes. Yeah, because in Borneo, we have lots of herbs that we usually use on, on food, also to cure.
The spices as well?
Yes, for spices and also for, curing some illnesses like that. So yeah, I'd say that one, I guess.
Okay, so you can see that. Thank you so much for all of your answer. We can see that when we think about culture, it's all of these words that we have pointed out. It's dance, music, it's coffee, it's food, it's herbs, spices, traditional medicine, and desserts, and being polite. And that is true. That is part of the culture. But at the same time, okay, I'm gonna show you also like full parts of it. This is visible, like also includes what you have pointed out: food, age, gender, behaviors, culture, like clothing and everything. But there's also the less visible part. And here is where things get more interesting, and I'm gonna show you a whole parts of like an example of whether or not how do I say this culture that we can't really explain because it doesn't have literal physical form. Under the sea itself, we have parts that we can see, like patterns of speech or accent, body language, favorite foods, hobbies, members, and blah, blah, blah. Now, we are going to talk a lot on this part because, well, this is where it's interesting. I'm going to ask every one of you to give me one, just pick one of this, one word, and like talk about it, and then we're going to respond to it. So let's start with, because Sugi, Arpah, and Mardia already talk. Let's say Miss Ain, can you pick one of this item and like let's talk about it from your point of view?
Maybe about skills.
Skills, awesome. Right. What do you think about skills? How do you describe skills on yourself?
All right, skills is something that you can do, and technically, or maybe your expertise. Yeah.
Okay. What about anyone else? Do you agree with what she just said? What about skills? It's something that you can do in your life and everything. Or maybe you have another point about skills, like you want to say, oh, skills is actually this, skills is actually that, skills is this one is necessary, this one is not necessary. Let's say go with Ryan.
I think skills are more into visible, because in society we can see, like, for example, the Palangkarayan actually really good at making batik, for example, like that is visible.
Okay, so the skill that you're saying is related to food. Do you have any other, thoughts? Okay, yeah, Sunshine.
I disagree with what has been said by Ryan before, saying that it's actually feasible. Okay, it's feasible, but there is an actions before that. So people need to show that they have the skill to be recognized. So there is an intention there, because the importance of skills is that not only getting recognitions, but upon getting recognitions, you will earn something valuable for your site. For example, like money or reputations, image, and so on and so forth.
That's great, thank you. What about Ryan? Do you want to respond to that, or?
That's good for the critics. I like it.
Awesome. And what about everyone else? Do you have some sort of like opinion about how they describe, three people have already described skills? Nope. Okay, Miss Ayin, can you pick one person to to describe their words, in this case, like to pick an item from the picture?
Maybe I choose Ria. If Ria doesn't answer, maybe I choose Ryan.
Okay. Ria, are you here? 3, 2, 1, goes to Ryan.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ryan.
What? The less visible?
Whichever. All of this picture, you can choose whichever.
Thought patterns.
Patterns?
Yeah, thought.
Those patterns. Where is it?
The left one. Below.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Thought patterns. What do you think about thought patterns?
I don't think we can really see it. For example, what I have thought, people in the modern country, in our modern era, is, for example, like Europeans are more materialistic, perhaps, perhaps. But we can see like Indians or Saudi Arabia, for example, maybe they are more spiritual. I don't really know. And we cannot, and that's not visible.
Yeah, exactly. So as to your opinion about being materialistic, I live in Europe, so I sort of know how it feels like. I would say it's more about how people, make money. If some people make money more than the others, and in Romania itself, it was parts of the how do I say this? The communist regime. So it was sort of hard for people in the Eastern European mostly to use their money to create. So maybe in response to being free from a communist regime, they do whatever they want, including they shop, they spend money, they have fun, whatever. But also at the same time, people from the countryside who are older and experience more of the communist regime, they have different lifestyle from people in the city side, you know. But that's a good point that you saying that thought patterns are very different. One have different patterns from the other, and yeah, we can't really see it. What about everyone else? Do you have an opinion about Ryan's opinion on thought patterns? No? Okay, so Ryan, you have the privilege to choose a person for what we're gonna talk about next.
I think Euroweek.
Euroweek.
Or Sophie.
Okay. Euroweek or Sophie, but you pick Euroweek. So Euroweek, if you're here, maybe you can choose. Or awesome.
Okay, sorry, what was the questions again?
Yeah, so we're talking about
Oh,
cultural
yes.
iceberg, and you can choose. This is the less visible part, and when it comes to culture, there's the visible one and there's the less visible one. And in this case, we're talking about the less visible. And what do you think about one of these words that you can choose whichever, and then you're gonna talk about it?
Let me check. I think more about, let's say, body language.
Body language, okay. What do you think about the body language that you usually have, or people around you usually have?
In my opinion, I think body language can be made, can be fake, let's say, or sometimes some people also have that certain body language because of their habit or what their parents taught them. So I guess it can be both. Sometimes it can be visible, but also not visible. But I mean, body language is visible. Let's say make it more visible then, yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about how would you describe your own body language? You know, you probably, for body language, we use it when it's more visible when we talk to someone. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's almost also visible when I talk. I tend to make a hand
Gestures?
Gestures, yes. Also my face expressions, it can be seen very easily. And when I talk to a guy, let's say, I tend to hold my hair like this, to attract some guys. So yes, I do make a lot of body gestures.
That's great. Thank you. What about everyone else? What can you say to what she just said to about body language? Maybe yes, Sunshine.
I thought that that would be two classifications, I suppose, when it comes to a body language, and it probably can be applied to other terms as well. Probably is more about something general and distinctive. So I suppose that every person has a very clear characteristic on how they show particular intentions within their awareness. For example, like, but probably, yeah, what has been said by Euroweek before. I don't know, there's somebody called Euroweek.
Well, it's an organization that.
Okay, yeah, just kidding.
Okay.
Okay,
He's
so
not a person.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like there are a variety of methods on how somebody use any parts of their body language to attract somebody other. One of them has been shown by Euroweek is like probably it is her particular skills to attract or to show the attractiveness of herself to others. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And why can someone says why do you think body language is more visible? Like it's less visible, but it's not invisible, you know? Maybe Sugianto? Hello? Sugianto? Okay, we're gonna skip that. Okay, Livia, maybe you can choose a word from either of this.
Okay. Oh, should I answer the question before about body language first?
Sure. That will be fun. That will be great. Thank you.
Okay. So I guess why body language is more visible than like something like thought patterns or assumption. It's because humans communicate not just through the words, but also through the body language, gesture, and expression, like micro expression. And it comes visible when you pay more attention to the detail of their body language. But if you just communicate unawarely, just as common things, and it will not so visible. So that's why maybe it's not in the tip of the iceberg, but a little bit under the tip of the iceberg, because it is between conscious and unconscious. So let's call it subconscious. And usually when you pay attention, I don't know whether body language can be manipulated or not. Maybe if you are an expert, you can do manipulate sometimes, but as far as I know, body language can be automatic response from our neurological system also, combined with expression and intonation. So imagine if you are angry and you try to hide it, but yeah, you know, from your intonation and your expression, it will, and your body language, it will show that you are intense, like you tense, and your face will a little bit frown, and yeah, and so on and so on. So it cannot be totally manipulated. Maybe if you try hard, it can be sometimes, but not for all body language. And yeah, it's interesting if you want to know whether someone is honest or not, whether sometimes they will unconsciously lie or try to hide their emotion because of a lot of consideration. But if you pay attention to the body language and their expression and intonation, it will reveal their true emotion and their true intention.
That's interesting. Yeah, I also like read about something that is called micro expression. That you can really fake that. So when an expert will know when you lie and everything, just a little just gestures here and there.
Yeah, I agree. But also it needs a lot of skills to notice, because the real emotion will comes up only half of the second, not too long. So you have to really pay attention to the micro expression. But that's interesting. If you interesting, you can learn more about that.
Wow, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe right now you can choose awards. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will choose assumption, maybe.
Assumption? Oh, right here. It's like on the bottom of the iceberg.
Yeah, it is the deepest, right?
Mhm. What do you think? Why do you think that assumption is on the bottom of the cultural iceberg?
Yeah, it's very interesting and also mysterious. It seems to me that when you have assumption, usually most people don't really clarify or try to show their assumption to the other people. Like they never clarify the assumption whether it's right or wrong. Because when people have assumption, usually I find that it is not always right, mostly wrong. I don't know why, because we are very subjective and we are emotional creatures. We are subjective creatures. We only try to understand other people based on our own experience and our own feeling, our own perception, not based on reality. So especially maybe for women, or I have a lot of male friends also who really likes to make assumption that they never really ask me personally, like in person, like, is it true that you think of me like that? But they suddenly just automatically judge me
Right.
or say to me that you must be like this. I know that you are this, you are that. And if it's a man, they will like talk to me directly, or maybe for Surabaya people, yeah, because Surabaya is more straightforward. I live in Surabaya. But I think from like women, other women or people from the other culture who is more subtle, they try to hide their assumption about me, just pretend like they they think about me nothing, like they just don't care. But actually they have their own assumption that I can say it's usually wrong. So it's
Yeah.
sad. It's sad, but yeah, that's the reality of our society as a human.
Right.
We
What,
misunderstand a lot of things.
yeah. What is the most common assumptions you've heard about yourself or your family, let's say?
Okay. Um. Lately, I feel hurt by people assumption about me that I like to you just okay. So I have ADHD. If you know,
I
it is,
I
you know it.
I know what you mean. I have it too.
Oh, really
Mild.
nice to
Yeah,
know
mild,
that.
but not too severe. But I
Oh,
do have it.
okay. Okay, I think mine is very severe because it comes to situation whether I feel so overwhelmed, get depressed, and cry a lot. I feel like I'm failure, and I don't know like what to do then. So I ask for people help, at least for them to understand about my inability to focus and to remember a lot of things. But they think that you just make a reason not to be responsible for your
Yeah.
own responsibility, whether you are conscious or unconscious about that. So I feel hurt by that because they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know how difficult. They just like, you just seek attention, isn't it? You just seek for people empathy, to put pity on you. Actually, no,
Wow.
I already hate myself a lot for that, but I just struggling a lot. So maybe a little kindness will help me to survive.
Yeah. For
But yeah.
me, I guess because also have mild ADHD, I have like inability to focus and multitask. So my mom will assume that I am lazy, but the truth is I can't do that somehow. Like subconsciously, I don't want to do that, so I didn't do it. So
Exactly. I
I
also
get it.
feel like, oh, the people will tell us as a lazy person and unorganized and,
Yeah.
messy.
Well, I think I am organized, but in their
Oh,
eyes, I'm not. So it's a struggle.
yeah, it's very, very struggle. And I've ever seen in ADHD, one of the ADHD YouTube channel called ADHD, I don't know, ADHD what. And she almost cried when she said about her experience being judged by other people, whether I feel it, like I really feel why she cry. She always almost cry in every video she made. So it's so sad. Like, oh, come on, people, just show some kindness to us.
Yeah,
Don't
because you can't really assume, assumptions. Like you said, assumptions is mostly negative and mostly wrong.
Yeah.
So, and you have to verify with the person itself. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
And
you.
also, welcome Ayu Amalia. I see that this is my first time seeing your name right now. So how are you?
I'm good today.
Awesome, that's great. May I know where you're from? Because we're talking about culture, and everyone comes from different places. What about you?
So I come from the city in Purwokerto, and the culture of my city is transparency. So everyone is blak-blakan.
I see. That's interesting. So would you like to pick one word from both of these icebergs and say your thoughts about this?
Okay, I think I want to choose family tradition.
Family tradition, okay.
Okay.
What about family traditions?
Okay, maybe I will tell you about my family tradition. It's related to the love language, the different of love language of our family. So my love language is act of service, but my families are
giving gift, yeah.
Giving gift, yes. My family, I think when they give me something, they think I feel satisfied and I will accept that action, or maybe I will appreciate. But when I realize in my deep heart, I never feel connected with my family if they just want to give me gift, but not the time. But it's contradiction with me because I like to spend my time with them. So I will spend my time, anything they need, I will come to help them like that. So I will always be there for my family. And I never tell them about this, maybe because my family, first of all, didn't understand about this love language. So that is about my perspective of my family tradition.
That's interesting. When we are sometimes on the surface, we're talking about family tradition. It's more about holiday, but it also involves in how you live your life. Like your mom says, this is the best thing ever. So you agree. Yes, Miss Sophie?
Yeah, yeah, Rhea, you can continue.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, family traditions is not just about holidays. It's not just about spending your time with, like how you go into a reunion together once a year for whatever holiday you're celebrating. It's also about things like Miss Ayu said, about love language, or about let's say what else, I can't really think about it right now. But yeah, love language is usually passed down generations through generations, and that's all they know. So if I use love language is act of service, when she actually grow up in the place with gift giving, it could be a little bit clashing, but also at the same time, yeah, that's all they know. So maybe this time is where IU get to start a new tradition with how you show your love. Please, Sophie.
Yeah, I just would like to respond related to IU's perspective before, because I can relate a lot related to family traditions, especially about love language. Since my main family, we are huggers. Like, we hug a lot among each others. Like my mom and my dad, even though how old are we already, but we still hug, whether for saying goodbye and welcome. But my big family, we don't do that in among our relatives. So when I senior high school, I moved in my grandma's house, which means I leave the main family in Kalimantan. So I spent my 3 years life there with my grandmas and my relatives, my cousins, uncles, aunties, and they don't do that. They don't hug each other, especially guy, like your uncles, your grandfathers. It's just like forbidden for you. It doesn't feel okay for them to hug the people who has opposite gender, even though they're your family members. So when I come back again in Kalimantan to continue my university study, I kind of awkward with my dad because he's the only guy in my family. I don't have brother. I have 3 sisters, and we're all women in the house. My father is the only one guy, and the effect that my big family gave it to me for the past 3 years, it's really changed the relationship between my dad and I. Like, I feel so awkward talking about my personal life with him. I don't hug him anymore, which make him feel upset sometimes. I know that through his eyes, like what happened to my daughter. She's changing. But yeah, I that's all I wanted to say, that it's so relatable how the culture between 2 places, even though actually all of us, like every single one of us, coming from one single root, like we are Makassarnis, we don't have like any other culture in our family, but we are completely living different culture. I think that's all I want to say, Miss.
Thank you. That's a great response. By the way, you have a daughter? You don't sound like you have a daughter.
No, I mean, I'm speaking for my dad, like
yeah, because if you do have a daughter, you sound very young, and well,
I'm
you're gonna be a cool mom.
I'm married.
Okay, thank you, IU and Sophie. Let's go with who hasn't gone? Sunshine. You respond a lot, but you haven't picked a word, I think.
Which one? In which part? Things we don't see.
Whichever.
Whichever.
I'm ready to talk about it.
Political views.
Political views. Okay. Where is he?
It's in the not visible one in the left side.
Okay, found it.
Okay, so many people find it a little bit harsh to distinctively expose their political views, because it could lead to discrimination or chaos, or probably like strong resistance even within one family. And that's why less people, in attempt to reduce any needless resistance, they hide what they believe to be true when it comes to political views. Okay, it's not feasible, but at the same times, it depends on the people as well. It depends on their purpose as well. In exposing, there must be some reasons. For example, they try to promote or influence others, or correcting and criticize the other different political views as well. And that's why they need to expose it, okay, to make better reasonings on why they should demand and fight for the one they choose to be right in their political justification. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's not feasible unless for um, some
Yeah,
purposes.
that's great. Do you think your political choices or political views are affected or by your family, or do you make your own decision? And how do you make it?
Mostly I made it on my own because it's a very how to say apparent or visible. I see my political beliefs extracted from what has been done by the politicians that I choose to follow. Okay, but family probably just like my father. He told me a lot about his political view, criticized the others, and I was like just remain silent, accept all the ideas, but deep inside I try to compromise. And I do agree with what everyone say, okay, because whenever I come to disagreement with them, it somehow influence my relationship with them, and that's why I prefer not to expose directly and just say, yes, you're true, and I nod with whatever they say. Okay, I guess I prefer to take a safer stance on that.
Yeah. I can see what you're saying, that sometimes political views separates family. So I lived in the United States for a while, and there it's very, very apparent that political views separates family. When one traditional family sides with the conservative, or in this case the have a person like a child maybe, or a teenager who actually agrees more with the other parties. So there is, a fight between those people, and one of my friend actually got kicked out of their house because of their political view. So it's very interesting to see. In Indonesia, sometimes you just be quiet, and you make your own choice. And when it comes to the political voting, the national voting, you pick your own because nobody will know your choice anyways. But in the States, people really, a lot of them are very passionate about their political stance.
Yeah. Because people are only expected to be admitted, and it's a very less of them or less of us that would recognize the justifications coming to others. We are blinded by the justifications we believe. Right.
Yeah. All right. Do anyone has something to say to Mr. Sunshine opinion? No? Okay, I guess we'll move on. Who else hasn't gone? Mardia?
Yes.
Could you pick one? Because it would be interesting to. I personally have never been to Japan at all, and I am very curious about their culture there. And maybe what have you experienced from like one of these bubbles or icebergs that we have, and you can explain about yourself and maybe about the people around you.
Okay. Maybe I will choose like religious practices.
Yeah.
Okay. My experience in here, because I'm using hijab and I'm a Muslim, so sometimes in the train, I think people is staring at me, but not in a like a rude way. I think they're just like curious why I'm using like a hijab and why I cover my head in this hot day, something like that. I think that's it. Sometimes it's so hard to find a like a prayer room in Japan. So sometimes we are pray in the park or something that everyone can see, and sometimes people people like stare at me, and I think it's weird because they don't familiar with my religion. So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
that's all I can say.
Do you live in the house, in the dorm?
I live in the dorm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the people in your dorm? Do they have like what have you experienced with the people in your dorm? Because so far I haven't had good experience with dorm people.
They are all nice because we are from a lot of country in here. There's like from Peru, Iceland. So
it's an international dorm.
Yeah, it's international dorm. So it's okay. It's good. So far, so good. I have no bad experience in here, I guess.
I see. Well, for me, I would say personally, Romania, it's an Orthodox country, which is like Catholic but Russian version. And the religious practice here, it's very intense. Even I go to church, but only on like some days, like Sunday and Friday, for certain meetings. But the traditional people here, they go to church every day and they have something all the time. And it was hard to find something that is more modern or like more my style than the traditional church, because God, the the ceremony or the mass, the service itself can last up to 5 hours with them, and it's a lot. I don't know, in Japan, have you ever been to like the religious place? I know the religion Shinto, is it like the one that originates from Japan?
Yes, there's a lot of shrines actually in Japan, and I visit a lot of shrines in Japan because it's like one of like a tourist attractions in here. And
what do they do in like? Do they have holidays like Christians have Christmas and Easter? The Muslim has Eid. What about Shinto?
I don't really know about the beliefs, but they have like their holiday like for like a day for the moon, the sea, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
That's interesting. And do they have? How do you see them celebrate? Have you seen them like, I don't know, parades or go to the shrine together with the whole family?
I don't really know, but when I go to the shrine, I saw they are like praying and then like writing what they want to, and then they like I don't know, like some money. They like give some money to the shrine or something like that.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ryan. Isn't a religion but a belief. That's also a good way to see it, because religion and beliefs, they coexist, but they're not exactly the same. But yeah, thank you, Mardia. Let's see who hasn't spoken yet. Sophie, have you picked a word? I don't think so.
I don't think I haven't.
Okay, so go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go with musical preferences.
Musical preferences. Okay, interesting choice.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I chose it because I joined music community in my university, and I've seen a lot of my friends kind of scared of for admitting their favorite genre or singers, because they might think, they afraid that others probably think that it is some silly taste. You know what I mean? For example, our society popular with like English song, especially like pop, but there is like few friends who like dangdut, for example, or other music that not really familiar in our circle, but they don't want to showed up that more, or tell us more about their favorite, or maybe even more worse, they pretend to like the pop one, like the popular one, just to be accepted in the circle, which is, I think, kind of sad, because I think every genre is good. It's all about preferences, no matter like people think it's ally or cringe. I think as long as you think it's good and it makes you feel good, go on. Yeah.
What about you? What's your musical preference?
Since I heard English a lot, yeah, I like the most common one, like pop music and English music. But my mom always like, what is that? Listen, some the music who, I don't know the genre name, but the music which
Who's
contain piano,
musician?
like do you know, you know Titanic, like My Heart Will Go
Celine
On.
Dion?
Yeah, Celine Dion. My mom likes her.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, that music a lot. So I think I like orchestra, like kind of orchestra too, since I heard that a lot.
Oh, do you play an instrument, by the way?
I play guitar and a little bit piano.
That's great.
Thank you.
That's awesome. All right. What about you? Do you have a favorite singer?
I don't really stick to the singer, but currently I listening to like Olivia Rodrigo album Sour. But I'm not. I don't.
I love that.
You love it. That's
Yeah,
good.
I love it.
But I'm not
Feeling
really
like
like.
I don't know. It's some people would describe it as like basic white teenage girl, but I like the music, so
I like it. I like all the words in the lyric.
Yeah, that's great. That I also like how you like say some people musical preferences sort of shape the way, you know, they are accepted or not, and some people still looking for acceptance, and one of it is through musical preferences. Yeah, that's interesting. I honestly, I wouldn't think about it that way, but the way you put it is, it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Arpah, what do you also like classical music, or are you pointing out Sophie's point?
Yeah, I was just pointing Sophie's point.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
she said about Celine Dion thing, so I just said
yeah. I guess right now it's your turn because you're talking.
me.
Yeah.
So pick one topic.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go with, yeah, I kind of like in between actually, patterns of speech and what do you think of school, so I'm not quite sure yet.
Which you want to talk about both?
Let's have patterns of speech, I guess. Yeah, I'll go with
patterns of speech. What do you think about it?
Okay, I guess it's quite funny that speech that we have, maybe because my background is, you know, I teach English, and I I go into the language itself quite a lot. So I'm going to talk about the patterns of speech, which is kind of unique and funny, I guess, at the same time, because when someone is speaking, it really relates a lot to, how do you say that? It really relates a lot to their culture, because do you know that someone who speak Indonesian, because Indonesian language is simple, so everyone in Indonesia also likes to think simply. And if you have to, yeah, if you have to compare Indonesian to other languages, for example, uh let's say Chinese, because Chinese has, so many alphabets more than Indonesian. So I guess they also think not that simply like Indonesian. So I guess it's funny and unique at the same time, because speech can also influence the way we think of anything, actually. Yeah, that's what I think.
Do you speak sorry, I was about to say, what do you think about people who wants to learn Indonesian, the foreigners? What would you tell to them?
I'd say that Indonesian can be learned very quickly, I guess, because we have lots of ways to simplify things. Yeah. Even that even that when we talk about the same thing, it's not really difficult to say this one specific topic, because we have the same way to talk about lots of things. We also, even if that we just put different patterns in a sentence, we still can understand what people are saying. But for other languages, I don't think that it's really as simple as ours, I guess.
Yeah, I can attest to that, saying that Indonesian language is very simple because we don't have genders in it. Pretty much everything is neutral. And then you learn European language, which has gender in everything. So
Yeah, gender also, let's say in Chinese, because Mandarin also has the
tones.
tones for
Yeah.
everything. So yeah.
Yeah, well, in Asia, you can make it whatever tones you want. Like, it could be different meaning. Well, like,
Yeah, we
with
also have tones, but
Chinese,
not really.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
You see, it's not really something that we need to really understand, or we need to learn about the tones.
Yeah.
Because it's not the point. Because in Indonesian we can talk about one topic, two topics, that topic, and everything we just want to say, because we have very simple language, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah, and it affects the way we think.
Right. Okay, thank you. Who else hasn't spoken? Right, February, Mr. February. Are you here? No? Okay, Zidane?
Hello, yes.
Hi, how?
Hi.
Okay, could you pick one of this topic, whichever, and then like talk about it?
I just sexual identity. Yeah, for.
What about it?
So in Indonesian, sexual identity. Okay. So in So, but in some country like if not I'm not wrong, I have searching about Japanese about they want to legalize of LGBTQ. Is that right? Because
Okay.
the rumor says the Japan want to legal to legal,
Legalized.
yes, the LGBTQ in their country. So in Indonesian, if we compare to the Indonesian, I'm sorry if my friend to lot.
Don't worry, don't worry. Just keep talking.
Okay.
We're ignoring them anyways.
So so if we compare to Indonesian, in Indonesian we can legalize LGBTQ because they have religion for that. I have some research for here in here, so I need to read. Yeah. From Indonesian culture, the LGBTQ can work because the public society is not agree with that because their religion. But in some country, they will like it's okay to being LGBT. Yeah, so this is like society like different from this country and that, but feel I just feel bad for doing LGBTQ in Indonesian, like gay person who have bullying, like bullying from society because they gay or ever like that. Then I think I feel bad I think I feel bad for that because our society like this not why just make them like they LGBTQ is human too, right? Because yeah it's human too, but so I think they need to don't have to fight or something like that. And yeah, I think that's it. I'm sorry for my bad English for now. For now,
It's the
I want
place
to
to
learn
learn.
more. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
a
still
place to
learn.
learn.
Mhm.
When you say it's being legalized in Japan, you saying is it marriage or is it the existence? What is it? Like it's the question.
Marriage. Yeah.
Okay. I
Is
would
that
say that
Mhm.
It's not just about religion, even though it's one of the focus in Indonesia. It's also about human rights, you know what I mean? And being human, it doesn't really, and sometimes people forget that we all have our differences and they just judge people based on what they know. In this case, it's religion, which is sort of concerning because even though you have your own belief, it doesn't really mean that you can force it too much on some other people. Like you can preach it, you can try to preach it, you can try to get people to be in your religion, but at the same time, you cannot abuse that belief to other people. And yeah, I believe that it's not just about legalizing it. It's about treating them with, humanity, with just like any other human. So yeah, that's interesting point that you point out. Thank you, Zidane.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for my English.
No, don't apologize. Stop apologizing. Keep practicing.
Because
Okay.
I'm so nervous right now.
Don't worry. All right. I
Okay.
guess we have several people left. Ain? Okay.
Yes.
Maybe you can pick a person.
I think Mr. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Cool. Can you pick a...
Hello. How could
Hello.
you pick my name? Right. Okay. Glad to join this case. Essentially, wait, I have to pick one. Not pick someone. Wait a second.
You pick a topic from this
Yes.
feature.
Okay, I pick the one. Your family's background. Okay, your family's background. Your
Family's background?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm trying to find it.
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about your family's background.
Thanks for the chance given, yeah. I would like to deliver my perspective towards that statement or question, such as the background doesn't mean that our parents want to make the children same as what the parents did, because of what I got it experience or influence from my parents. It is repercussion to me. Even my parents haven't got a chance to get well educated, but somehow most of parents don't want to, how to say, to guide children same as what they got it. So that they try to provide it, they try to support what the children needs, but we can underline that the parents do not force the children what they wanted. Yeah, it means that the children need to how to say, to give a room to grow up. Then the parents just control them. If they, how to say, live out, or they live out from their way to achieve it what they wanted. As long as their dream, their purpose is better, let's support them. I think so. Why I choose that topic? Because mostly when I meet some teenagers, some let's say student of college, they do not have their own priority to choose their major. Because of that, it affects to what they have done, what they have studied in university, such as they were wrong to choose this major and so on. How could it be? How to solve them? It goes to education and so on. Because of that, I think so. And then some of them, the parents provide, how to say, responsibility to the children, and then they can, how to say, they can control it. I think so. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Ria.
Do you think how did your family backgrounds shape yourself?
Okay, I'm really glad to have a parents. Even my parents have not, my parents are not rich, but they are enough for me to facilitate me. That's what I wanted. Such as if my my brother and I want to continue my study, just continue it, because this time we do not invest our safety, such as money, material, financial, and so on. We do not prioritize it right now. Even I don't say that it's not important or significant, but I say we don't prioritize it. But the main point, we invest our time to look for our stupidity to be better, because life is changing and the world is changing. So just go ahead if we have time right now, because we haven't had any responsibility to earn someone's life, I think.
So do you think that your life before, you're an adult, when you grow up, would you call it a little bit of mistake, or how would you say it?
No, no, because I figure out my environment or cultural environment, because most of my friends are builders, and they easily say that it's okay, just be a builder, you can work, the point is you get the money. So vice versa, I give back questions. It means that when I'm not a builder, I cannot eat anymore. The question is not how will, let's say, what will we be later, but what will we create later? You know what I mean? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Because of I say short term and long term. Let's say, since pandemic came to the world, everything was changing faster. So might as well we be easily adapt to this condition. So that I say that maybe commonly I mentioned many times, invest the time to study everything, not only study in university, school, but whatever we see, listen, watch, read, write, all of them are knowledge. I think so.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Koo. And it's actually 5 minutes to 10, so we gotta wrap it up. And thank you so much for everyone who has been speaking. I'm sorry if I haven't picked you guys. Some of you guys didn't speak because I couldn't pick you, but it's been a very interesting discussion. I think that right now we know more about each other's experience on this on culture, because like I said, culture is not just about food, it's not just about dance, it's not just about music, it's also about all of the things that we've talked about: sexual identity, political views, religious practices, skills, and everything else. And I wish that through this through this sharing that we did, it gives you another perspective. And if you ever go to another place, remember that their culture may be different than ours, and you have to be patient and explore the iceberg underneath the how do I say this, the ocean itself, the blanket of ocean, because it's not, you can't just assume it's wrong when you actually haven't explored. And actually that's all my presentation, and I am very glad that we had this discussion. And who knows, maybe we have another time to talk about more topics next time. Please, Miss Ayn.
Yeah, thank you, Rhea. It was great discussion, and you guys are amazing tonight. So it's time for English correction, and Miss Arpah will help us to correct our English tonight. So Miss Arpah, time is yours.
Okay, it's kind of dark here. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I guess it's my turn to correct everyone, and I'm going to share some screen, Ayn, if that's okay.
Yes, can.
Okay, so I've made some notes here from our discussion. So I guess that the first one I noticed was I born in here. I guess this one is already I guess everyone already knows about this one, but I still noticed some of you still made mistakes in here. I born air, so B I was born in. And I also noticed this one, everyone's are from, which should be everyone is from, because everyone needs to be singular. And then the next one is TV. We usually say on TV instead of in TV. Have you ever seen in TV? Have you ever seen on TV actually instead of in? And then I ever seen. Well, actually, if you say ever, it should be with verb one. So you can say I ever see. Or if you want to put seen instead of see, you can say I've seen from a movie. Like I've seen from this movie, I've seen from that movie. So you can say that one. And I also pointed the tip of the iceberg. So this is actually the first thing that we discussed. The tip of the iceberg is the end, actually, or you can say the top end of something, especially something pointed. That's why when we were talking about the iceberg, so we have the tip for the term of it. And then icebergs go. So because icebergs, we have s at the end, it needs to be we need to put this into plural one, so the verb also needs to be plural. You put go there. And I also noticed which you would like you give. I would like you to give. So let's say if we want someone to do something, you need to put to here. I would like you to give. And then skills is and skills are. So you need to put are instead of is again here because we have the plural one. Someone said contradiction. It's contradiction with me. I guess it's about the love language. I don't remember. Yeah, we have contradiction. It's contradictive actually because we have an adjective. Okay, and the next one is no matter how old are we. So if we put how old are we, this is a question, and if you put that into let's say this is a statement actually instead of a question, so you put that into no matter how old we are. Okay, and this one I'm using hijab. I'm wearing hijab actually. When you have something on your body like your hijab, your shoes, your clothes, your everything that you wear, actually you need to put wear instead of using, because use is, you put use when you are talking about tools. If you're talking about tools, you can say use, but if you're talking about something that you put on your body, so you have wear there. And the same, they do not exactly the same. They are not exactly the same instead of do, because do needs to be put with noun like this one. And then okay, so before I talk about this one, I want to say to you a little bit about English, because when you have English or any other languages, actually you need to differentiate between speaking and writing. So actually, if you're talking about the writing things or English test, for example, you need to stick up to the grammar stuff like this one. So instead of saying there is a few friends, you can say there are a few friends. There are a few friends, because friends is plural. But I don't say that this one is not cool. This one is good actually, but this one is only used for spoken English instead of written English. So you can say there is a few friends. This is actually acceptable, but I would just say that this is acceptable. I cannot say that this is actually grammatically correct, because it's not grammatically correct. This is acceptable in spoken English, and this one is fine actually. And then the last one is not agree. Well, when you're talking about countries, you can say don't agree. When you talk about a country, you can say doesn't agree, or you can say we can't go along with that. So instead of saying agree, for this one, if you're talking about countries agree or not agree, you can say go along. So our country don't usually go along with that rule or this rule or whatever. So yeah, I guess that's it. You can say go along instead of agree or disagree. Yeah, I guess
Alright.
that's it, Ayn.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Arpah. It will make us improve absolutely. And okay, guys, for the closing, we can open our camera for taking picture together. Once again, thank you for your time for joining the weekly discussion with OTA and Euroweek Indonesia. And if you guys want to know more about Euroweek Indonesia, you can check Instagram Euroweek.Indonesia. Correct me if I'm wrong. Euroweek. All right.
I'm sorry, this is quite dark here.
No worry. All right. Please confirm if you can open your camera. Euroweek, Sophie, Ryan, Ria, Zidan, and Miss Ayu, Slivia. All right, thank you, Ayu. Okay.
I will close.
Oh, all right. Okay. Let's have a smile. 3, 2, 1. All right then. Okay, thank you so much for being amazing tonight together with Ota. Sorry? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you, Miss Rhea. Have you healthy and good there. And Miss Arpa, thank you for contribute tonight. And see you guys on the next week in our weekly discussion with Ota. And bye bye.
Have a good week, everyone. Bye.